I'm gonna just let y'all know now before we even start. There is a sickening amount of Manchester City on this list. Like, it's annoying. Yeah, it makes sense because they won the whole treble this year, but bro, I'm an Arsenal fan. This shit gave me PTSD. Had to put all bias to the side to make a fair ranking though, so here goes the top 30 individual performances of the last calendar year. Before we actually start, I'm gonna just give the basic guidelines for the placements on this list. The factors that basically went into it were obviously how good the performance was, the level of competition they faced, how important the game was, and a few other smaller things like clutchness and all that. Another thing to remember is that goals and assists aren't all that matters. Yeah, it's obviously a huge part of a good performance, but a player having less goal contributions doesn't make their performance worse, obviously. We all know that. I was just going over it again real quick. Everybody got it? Alright, let's go. Honorable mentions. First, shout out to Mbappe putting up 5 goals against Pays de Castle last January in the French Cup. 5 goals is crazy, but who the fuck is Pays de Castle? They're like 3rd division or something. He wasn't making this list with that, respectfully. Next honorable mention is Mbappe again, this time versus Gibraltar. 3 goals and 3 assists back when France slaughtered them a few months ago, but come on now. You can fit their entire country in Stamford Bridge. Literally. Saka versus North Macedonia gets an honorable mention too. Another fantastic performance against atrocious competition. I'm going to give an HM to Rafael Leao versus Napoli last April. Not any of the Champions League games, the one where Milan washed them in the league for nothing. He had a brace. The second goal was nasty as hell too. Napoli had no answer for them at all that whole month. This might not be a popular pick, but I'm also giving an honorable mention to Vicario versus Chelsea. Tottenham conceded 4 goals, so it might sound crazy, but bro, if you watched his performance that day when they were down to 9 men, you wouldn't believe what that man was doing. Out there playing keeper, center back, damn near midfielder sometimes. Chelsea was penetrating that high line like a porn star, and Vicario was getting rid of everything for a good while. The combination of Nicholas Jackson being dreadful and his brilliance is the only reason they kept the score to 4. Kane versus Dortmund is next. It might be surprising that this hat-trick is his lowest one on the list considering it was against better competition than the others. But when you look at the goals he scored and the overall performance, I don't know, this one didn't move me that much. Courtois versus City in the second leg last year is next. Yeah, I know Madrid got fucking plowed, but Courtois had personal beef with Haaland this entire game. Dude absolutely refused to let him score. He made some ridiculous saves. The last 2 honorable mentions are Mbappe versus the Netherlands in March and Kane versus Darmstadt. Alright, now we can start the actual list. Let's really get into it. At number 30, we got Harry Kane versus Bochum on September 23rd. Bochum is mid as shit, but Kane this game was crazy. 5 goal contributions, 3 goals, and 2 assists. What else is there to say? He's really farming the fuck out of that league. I doubt he doesn't break Lewis' record. At number 29, we got Jeremy Doku versus Bournemouth on November 4th. This dude literally has one move, but it works every time. He grilled Bournemouth, had a goal and 4 assists. The last assist was probably the best one in my opinion. He was creating from everywhere in the field. The right, the left, the midfield. Bournemouth hella mid, but this is still an impressive performance. Number 28 is Lautaro Martinez versus Salernitana on September 30th. He put 4 goals on a dome, and even though Salernitana is one of the worst teams in any of the top 5 leagues, it's still going above some of the other ones because he did it in like half an hour after getting subbed on. At 27, I'm going to say Declan Rice versus Manchester City on October 8th. Rodri and KDB being absent kind of takes away from how impressive this is, but he still absolutely dominated that midfield, just snatching everything that came his way, hawking down anything that wasn't coming his way. With him locking down the midfield and Saliba bullying Haaland behind him, it's no wonder City could barely get a shot off. Number 26 is Rodrigo against Valencia on November 11th. 2 goals and 2 assists against a mid-table team to help Madrid keep up with Girona for first place. Not going to be high on the list, but I don't see why I can't make it. Number 25 is going to be Jack Grealish versus Liverpool on April Fool's Day. He didn't have the best performance for City that day, but he was all over the place. Stopped a dangerous counter by himself, created all types of chances. He was the second best player on the field. Had a goal and an assist. City washed Liverpool that day, and he was a big reason why. Number 24 is going to be Donnarumma versus Nice last April. The fact that he kept a clean sheet that day is wild. He was dipping, ducking, and diving all over the place to get those stops. He had 7 saves, and they were pretty much all threatening shots. The only reason it's not the number 1 keeper performance for me is because Nice was a mid-table team. Number 23 is Benzema versus Valladolid. Don't kill me, but I think this hat-trick was better than the one against Barca a few days later. No penalties and considerably better finishes. The last goal was nasty as hell. They cleaned them like 6-0 that day. Madrid was doing devious work around that time. I really thought they was headed for the UCL final before City steamrolled them. At 22, we got Akanji versus Bayern in the first leg of the UCL quarters. I don't see a lot of people talking about this performance, which is insane because he absolutely bullied one of the most stacked offenses in Europe. Coman, Davies, and Sane, all of them got strapped. Anything that came his way, he was snatching it. Well, most of the time. He did get dribble passed a couple times, but he pretty much had shit shut down on that side for the majority of the game. At 21 and 20, we got Mbappe and Messi against Marseille back in February. Their performances were so equal that I just threw them in there together. They might as well be tied. Both of them contributed to all 3 goals. Both of them did miss a big chance, but they were out there working Marseille. My favorite goal was definitely the last one. That little lob Messi tossed up and Mbappe punched in. Might as well call it an alley-oop, to be honest. Marseille's line was pretty high most of the game, but they weren't picking up any runs, so PSG was just having the time of their lives making free sprints towards the goal. If they didn't miss so many chances, they might have washed them by like 6. At 19, we got John Stones versus Inter. Not enough people give him credit for what he was doing this game, because for the first hour, Inter was dogging City. Every time a City player touched the ball, they either got stripped or fouled. City was low-key a mess, and Inter had him shook. Stones was one of the only players that helped City gain any semblance of control. Inter couldn't pressure him. He was gliding through their defense like Messi, completed all 7 of his 7 attempted dribbles. Rodri got man of the match because he was great as well, and he scored the winner, but Stones was just as important. There was this one play in the second half where he made a great turn and somehow kept the ball in play and kept possession before placing a good ball forward. He was unreal that game. Only made one real mistake, and it was a shitty touch around the box in the second half. Pretty sure he only got subbed off because he was hurt. At 18, I got Camavinga against Barcelona in the second leg of the Copa del Rey semifinal. This dude played out of position at left back and absolutely humiliated Rafinha. It was a sight to see. He cannot do a single thing against that man, bruh. Attempted nutmeg? Nope. Try to duck past him? Nope. Pace abusing? Nope. Try again. Ferran Torres came on and got the same work. It was straight bullying. Mind you, he got injured early in the game and was limping. Y'all got strapped by a cripple that wasn't even playing his position in y'all own house? Just ridiculous. At 17, give me Osimhen versus Juventus on January 13th. 2 goals and an assist against a defense that was one of the best in Europe at the time. They had kept 8 straight clean sheets in a row before this game. Then they pulled up to Naples and got thrashed. Osimhen wasn't even man of the match. That's the crazy part. We're going to get back to that soon, though. At 16, we got Aaron Ramsdale versus Tottenham on January 15th. If you told me after this game that Ramsdale wouldn't even be starting for us anymore in half a year, I would laugh in your face. He was unreal. Probably his best performance of the season. All right, y'all. We're almost halfway through. At number 15, give me Gavi versus Real Madrid in the Supercopa final last January. He contributed to every goal in a game where Barca pretty much cleaned Real Madrid from start to finish. A goal, 2 assists, played with an absurd amount of energy, was definitely the best player on the field, and he won Barca that trophy. By the way, before we get into the rest of the top 15, I just want to let y'all know that this is where we get into the disgusting amount of Manchester City players on the list. Out of the top 15, literally half of them are Manchester City games. Even some of the players that aren't playing for City are technically still City players. It's filthy. All right, let's go. At number 14, give me Bernardo Silva versus Real Madrid in the second leg of the UCL semis. Silva funny as fuck because he pulled up to the games looking crazy. 7 ball spots and a Trae Young haircut. He don't give a fuck about nothing. He just comes to the stadium every week and start hooping. This wasn't his best performance in the UCL this year either, which is crazy. A brace against Madrid to take your team to the final would be the best game of some players' careers. Number 13, Vinny Jr. torching Liverpool in the first leg of their UCL clash. 2 goals and an assist at Anfield. He absolutely washed them. The first goal was disgusting. And yeah, the second goal was an accident, but even then it only happened because he put pressure on Alisson. Gomez was so ass this game, by the way. He was out there crapping himself. Liverpool fans definitely got on his ass after that shit show. At 12 is Mahrez against Tottenham last January. I wouldn't be mad if anybody put this top 10, to be honest. City went down 2-0, and coming out of the locker room after halftime, all the pressure was on them. They proceeded to score 4 unanswered goals, and Mahrez contributed to every single one. The first one he wasn't on the stat sheet for, but he slipped away from his defender and put the cross in the box that led to the goal. The next 3 goals he either scored or assisted. He absolutely torched Tottenham, an underrated game in City's title charge, because they would have fallen even farther behind Arsenal if not for that win. Number 11 is Kvaratskhelia versus Juventus. Without a doubt, man of the match in that slaughter in Naples. Once again, I'm going to remind y'all that Juventus had 8 straight clean sheets in the league before this game, and Napoli dragged their testicles all over their faces. Kvara had 3 goal contributions just like Osimhen, but he was way more involved than Osimhen throughout the game. There was a time last season I thought this guy was completely unguardable. This game was one of the main reasons why. He slipped past defenders so easily all game, you would think they were playing a second division team, one of the biggest wins in Napoli's title charge. Alright, y'all, we're about to get into the top 10. If you feel like it, pause the video and drop your predictions in the comments before continuing. I'm low-key interested. Alright, Y'all ready? Let's go. At number 10, we got Rodri versus Inter Milan in the UCL final. Now, this might seem a little low for a UCL final man of the match, but let's be real, this isn't that different from your average Rodri performance. He'll get those line-breaking passes, he'll be the main one helping maintain possession, and occasionally, he'll get a goal. The only difference is that this was on the biggest stage, which is why it's as high as it is. Not exactly best of the best, though. Number 9, Mike Maignan against Napoli in the UCL, both legs. This guy was nuts. In the first leg, he got rid of everything that came his way, kept a clean sheet, and made an extremely clutch save with one hand to keep Napoli off the board. In the second leg, he saved the penalty against Kvaratskhelia that kept Napoli off the board again. He lost the clean sheet in stoppage time, but he was still clearly man of the match in both games. I'm not mad at anybody who calls him world class or even the best keeper in the world right now, even though it's clearly Alisson in my opinion. At 8th, I got KDB versus Liverpool. When I said Grealish was the second best player this game, it's because KDB is first. This was one of the many games you could point to if you want evidence of KDB just casually being the best passer in the history of the league. All game, he barely put a foot wrong, created 5 chances, and to top it all off, got himself a goal. Him and Grealish were a nasty combo this game. At 7, we got Haaland against Arsenal in April. Saliba, where were you when we needed you? I still cannot believe that we actually pulled up to the Etihad in what was essentially a title-deciding game with Rob Holding staring down Erling Haaland. I just know he was licking his lips coming out of the locker room. It's crazy because Haaland could have been much higher on the list if Ramsdale wasn't being a hater. If Haaland got a shot off, Ramsdale was sending that shit to another dimension. But as soon as KDB put some shit up, he suddenly take like 30 hours to register the balls coming towards him. Haaland still got himself a late goal and 2 assists though. Saliba, I will never forgive your back. He strapped Haaland for almost the entire 90 at the Emirates. I don't care how unlikely it was. We would have had a better chance with him back there. At number 6, I'm putting Joao Cancelo against Porto a little while ago in the Champions League. Generally one of Barcelona's best performances since Messi left. Extremely important game, mind you, because at the time, there were 3 teams tied with 9 points at the top of the group, I believe. Barca had went down 1-0 and Porto had been abusing them all match. Cancelo responded with their most important goal of the season just minutes later and then spent the rest of the game torching Porto. He assisted Felix's winner and had this insane Trivela pass too that would have been a crazy highlight if Lewandowski wasn't a dinosaur. Outstanding performance. Alright, top 5 time, y'all. Let's get into it. 5th is Haaland versus RB Leipzig in the Champions League round of 16. 5 goals in the knockouts is absolutely outrageous. And sure, it probably was 5 of the weakest goals ever, but it's still 5 goals against a solid team. I mean, they had Gvardiol back there, widely believed to be the best young defender in the world at the time. Some people are going to argue it should be higher because, 5 goals. Some people are going to argue it should be lower because the goals were quote-unquote lucky goals, and most were just balls that fell in his lap. I think 5 is a fair placement, though. At number 4, give me Valentin Castellanos versus Real Madrid last April. 4 goals against one of the best teams in Europe is crazy, especially because he spent the entire game dunking on Militao of all people. I didn't even watch the game live. That afternoon, I opened Instagram just to see that Girona, of all teams, had cleaned Madrid and put 4 on their dome. It wasn't until recently that I actually watched the full game live. Castellanos was bullying Militao, bruh. This dude gave Barca fans enough ammo to last months with that performance, and I never even heard his name before it happened. Haven't heard of him since either, I'm not gonna lie. Only player this century to put 4 goals on Madrid's dome, though. Definitely deserves a top 5 spot. At number 3, give me Bernardo Silva against Bayern in the first leg of the UCL quarterfinals. This dude played like a energetic-ass rat, like a badass toddler, just annoying as hell. He was hounding anybody on the right side of the field that touched the ball. Davies was getting bodied by a 5'8" homeless man. It was wild to watch. Silva gets out there and plays like 4 positions at once. Him and Akanji were tag teaming the fuck out of Bayern. That was just his defensive contribution too, mind you. On offense, he was flaming them. I know everybody remembers that triple nutmeg play. It absolutely humiliated Bayern's defense. A goal, an assist, excellent defensively against one of the world's best teams. Easy top 5. There's a reason he finished so high in the Ballon d'Or rankings. Coming in at number 2, we got Mo Salah during the humiliation ritual at Anfield last season. Lining up against Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, and Rafael Varane and doing that should be a federal crime. He was unguardable in every way. I have never seen a defense get done up like this. 2 goals, 2 assists. He was the driving force behind this utter beatdown. United should be ashamed to this day. Of course, you can't forget about him turning Martinez into a Beyblade too. I don't think he recovered to this day. Salah takes the 2 spot, which means there's 1 spot left. In my personal opinion, the best performance of the last year. Y'all don't know how much it hurts to do this. was KDB against Arsenal at the Etihad in April to pretty much seal the title. He didn't have a crazy number of goals like Haaland versus Leipzig or a crazy number of assists like Doku versus Bournemouth. He had 2 goals and 1 assist. But when you combine every factor, this was the best performance of the year. You're facing the first place team in the league after being behind them almost the entire season so far. This is essentially the title decider. If you win, you basically have the title in your hands. He went out there and torched us. Haaland won man of the match for an outstanding performance, but if you look at what KDB was doing all game, perfectly placing passes, every through ball was perfect, every touch was perfect. And then to top it all off, after contributing to every single one of the first 3 goals, he was subbed off 10 minutes early and watched Haaland twist the knife. It's been 8 months and I'm still sick. He can have the number 1 spot, bro. Let me know what y'all think of my list in the comments. Yes, I'm aware that there might be a couple games I forgot. To be fair, it's not exactly easy to remember every single good game in an entire year, especially for smaller teams. I also don't watch every league consistently. For example, I barely watch the French league, and I don't really watch any of the small teams in Germany or Italy. What do you think I got wrong? What do you think I got right? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to see y'all next time.